All right, guys, video here. Thanks to all who joined me in Ticker TV. I was kind of going over charts there, looking for charts, and it's nice to have company and people to talk stocks with. And as I told them, for whatever reason, my wife and kids don't enjoy playing the stock symbol game as we drive around town, and I try to, say, hey, guess what their symbol is, point at a business. For whatever reason, they don't enjoy that. So it is definitely nice to hang out with other traders when I'm looking at charts. Okay, so having said that, here we go. ASPS. It's kind of obscure, but when you go to, say, 30-minute chart here, then you start to see why it's impressive. This thing ran from 18 to 32 back in mid-January, right? And lower high, lower high, lower high, and now it's starting to put in higher lows and take out. It's starting to move up, starting to turn. So, it's actually interesting to me up over, let's put a line here, up over today's high. It can be thin and kind of squinky, so you want to be careful with it and trade it smaller and only with a proper setup. But OCN is the one that kind of leads this one, and OCN seems to have turned the corner. So keep an eye on both of those. MILL, little baby oil and gas stock, but a nice pop here. I made a call on it today, and we got a decent little percentage move, but it still didn't really break out. I want to watch that one for a continuation, especially, if you see oil moving. NES, this one, you really probably wouldn't notice it, but it did gap up yesterday. I had a line there, it's still there on my chart, where the pre-market high was. Sold off all day, never got a trade in it, but then today it seems to found some footing here, and nice support now, around 340 to 360. So this one might try to head higher. I want to watch that one. I don't love it, but it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. SPWR, and any other solar for that matter, they all had a big pop, and now they're kind of flagging. So SPWR is the one I've chosen to watch. Again, if oil rallies, the solars might get going. CSIQ, same thing. You could go through the list. Most of you know all the solars. GENE looks like it's topped, right? We had a great trade in this, a couple great trades in this last week or so. And now you kind of have a double top, and it looks like a shooting star, and you say, hey, shorts are finally going to take over this thing. Except in after hours, this thing climbed up to almost 450, I think. And it looks right now like it's around 419. So today's high was 454. I don't know if I have after hours on here. I don't. Let me add it on real quick. Whoops, wrong one. Time templates. And then you can see it all went all the way back up in after hours from here all the way up to 450. So I love this thing over 450 tomorrow. And we'll see if it gaps up, or it might just roll over. We don't know. Right now it's at 419. But normally I would look at this and say it's extended for a long, but the after hours action is interesting. So Gene goes back on watch again. CONN, I don't want to chase this. It had a big day today. But with that volume and that breakout, it deserves to be on a chart going forward for the next several days. U.S. Steel, after the earnings gap up, pulled back a little bit and then really took off. Went from 22 to 26. That's a big move, and now it's down a couple days. And Nucor Steel today, 47.63, a nice little move. Nice little breakout for NUE. So that might get X headed back higher again. So that one goes on long watch tomorrow. KEG, Irrational Exuberance or something like that was his chat room name. Not chat room name, but Ticker TV name. He popped in and was kind of talking stocks with me, and he pointed out KEG. Now, it's got a narrow daily range, right? It's got a pretty narrow daily range, but it's certainly compelling here up over this area. So, again, I'm sure that's going to move with oil and gas. So let's keep our eyes on that. It doesn't really ever put in a big day. All those days are pretty narrow, but it still looks ready to break out, so I do like it. And SFY, I think, is another stock in that space. Looks like it could go higher too. And then I'm going to throw YOD on watch. It had that gap up. We played it as an earnings play the other day. Had a nice move from like 293 to 340. Had a nice trade, and look what it did. It ended up closing at its lows. Down again, down again. Well, today finally kind of turned the corner and got decent. If I take that big spike out of there, you can see that relatively speaking, over the last few days, got decent volume into the close and is kind of flagging now. So this one might continue higher. And then I don't even have this on my watch list because it's so obscure. But LIVE, I guess I'm throwing this in the video so I can go on record in case this thing rips one of these days. It's kind of caught my interest because, well, on earnings in late December, you had that monster gap up. It's certainly found support now. What is that number? At $3. Gapped up the other day, but came back down into support, and now today closed green again. So it's kind of compelling to me. I think this one deserves to be watched. If you scroll back, you can see at times this one can make massive moves. It's a low float stock, so it can make some crazy moves at times. And it's starting to act like it might just rip higher. So I am going to put that in my notes for the chat room too. But it's obscure because today it only traded 120,000. I don't like trading stuff that thin, but have live on one of your charts or in the back of your mind. And then if you're trading, and then all of a sudden Benzinga, you hear audio news on LIVE live deal, and it sounds like good news, you already know the chart looks primed. And so that's kind of the way I would play that. If LIVE gets news, I already know I like the chart for a possible explosion, and then I'll be able to jump in it pretty quick. So just knowing that. So anyway, that is my list for tomorrow, and we will talk to you tomorrow night.